Yes, guys. So finally, preseason or the preseason schedule is coming to an end. We've seen all the games. We've watched the team. Everything is done. Just a week till the season. Only thing that can change now is some signings. How's preseason been? Has it been successful? Has it been effective? Have we enjoyed it? Here's my whole preseason review. Let's get into it. Obviously, a big category is recruitment. Players were brought in, staff were brought in, transfers, performance. But we're going to start with the coaching side of things. And here what I've got. This is what I've gone with. Coaching staff. I've started with an A plus, guys. Do you know why? Right. There's many reasons for this. One, from what I'm watching, and we'll get into performance in a bit. But from what I'm watching, right, what I'm seeing from the team week in, week out is constant improvement and constant style and identity, which we haven't had properly, and I mean properly, since Marcelo Bielsa. Now, you could argue, obviously, a lot of people don't agree with it, but Jesse Marsh had an identity, right? He had a way he wanted to coach. But what we didn't have, and I'm looking at the people around Daniel Farker here, are a real core staff. He didn't have those guys with him who have been with him literally from the start, which is the case with three of these guys. And the goalkeeper coach Wootton has been in, with him at Norwich. A real team of disciples who believe in him, like Marcelo has and still has. And this is what I mean by that's why I put an A plus, because I just think as a unit, as a collective, it's what you need to be a professional team that competes at the top level. Because look, it's all good having a top coach who kind of creates this team, but that doesn't create an identity. That creates people trying to come together to create an identity. These guys have an identity. They already have that. They're like brothers. They know exactly everything about each other tactically and as a coach, as a person. Having all them in the same room, the same team, the same environment is what you need for success. And everyone on a lot, can't speak. All these people predicting us to finish 7th, 6th, they're not taking that into account. They're disrespecting Daniel Farker and what he's done at this level. He's won the league twice, right? One of them in the hardest leagues where we were in with Marcel Bielsa. You had Villa, you had Derby with Mason Mount, etc. They won that. He was the best side in that league. He was the best side in it. Daniel Farker is that guy. The guys around him on the picture are the people who was with him at that time. He then did it again and won with 97 points. People are disrespecting Daniel Farker. He is the man who will take you into the Premier League. He's done it twice. A plus, no doubt about that. Playing staff. Now, this is before getting into transfers, this is current playing staff and how I feel about them right now. So as a team, not as individuals necessarily, we'll do individuals in a bit. As a side, I'll put the playing staff, the team where it is right now, at a B. Not a B plus, not an A minus, a B. I think it's good. I think we have some, still as it stands, this is pre-season, remember, this is not what will happen in the future. This is pre-season technically finished now, so there's a week left, but, this is the side we have right now, okay? Because of preseason, and I just think it's very good in terms of the star quality. Look at Sinistera there and Somerville, two players who you could argue are too good for this level. The experience of Luke Ayling, Leo Hjelder's had a decent thing. Dan James, who has really come through. Ampadu, we've added to that squad. Rutter, added injuries issues, but Archie Groves stepped up massively. Charlie Creswell was coming good. Strauch's had the good game against, was it Monaco, where he played, was it Monaco? The last game he played, full game. Was it Forest or Monaco? One of them. He was phenomenal. Right centre back. He's really coming on. We've signed Darlow as well. I think as a squad, we're looking okay. What we definitely need from what we've seen, what we've all seen, is additions, clearly. People talking about that 10 role, for me, thinking about it's not necessarily a 10. It's a guy who has those attributes of a player that we don't have. That technical ability on the ball in the 10 area to kind of create that pass, create that chance. Because as we know, that Buendia was that player for Norwich, right? But he didn't play 10. Buendia didn't play the 10. He played on the right for Norwich, mainly, especially in the Championship. He played on the right. But he had that ability to create chances. Their 10 mainly in the first season was Stapleman, who was a big guy who could score goals. And he was never a 10 before that. Daniel Farke adapted him into that role and got the best out of him. So we need that type of player who is going to get goals and assists from that position. Not necessarily a number 10, but a guy with those attributes. So yeah, I put a B for the playing staff. Transfers. We're going to get right into transfers. And before we look at the ins and outs, we'll just look at these two. And I put C+, because one, it's not finished. Right? It hasn't finished. It just hasn't. There's a long way to go. And by the end of it, that could be D, that could be A+. It's not finished yet, but in terms of pre-season, that's what it is in pre-season. We've brought in 2, Ampadu and Darlow. And these are the ins and outs. Now, I looked at ins here, and I've gone a bit creative with it. Because in terms of what the actual squad looks like, in terms of players we didn't have that we do have, right? We brought in 2, but actually we've got these guys back, and we're missing that. We've got Daniel Farke and his entire squad, his entire team around him, the coaching staff. They came in. That's a good in. Ampadu, excellent signing. Darlow, good signing, solid signing. And then there's these players that were on loan that we didn't have last year, that in the Championship are like new signings. Cody Drame, who got promoted with Luton. You sign a guy that gets promoted with Luton, you're buzzing. Dan James, who, look, we know about Dan James and his inconsistencies, but it's been very effective this preseason. I think that's the word. Without that end product being immaculate, he's been very effective and a good player in the side. I don't think you can deny that. Creswell's back, who had a really good end to his Millwall stint and became a man, he said. You sign that player, you're happy. Shackleton, whether he'll play a big role or not, to be seen, but he's playing a role, and he can be a role player. He's quite versatile. Paveda, in his cameos, he's been very well. And all Farke can do pre-season is judge players on this year, not last. He'll judge them all on this year. He'll come in with a clean slate. He'll judge Paveda on what he's seen from him. Forget what anyone else has said in the past. What's happening with him now? Is he performing well? Yes. That's good. He'll get a chance if that's the case. If the other stuff is right off the pitch, he'll get a chance. It's like a new signing in that sense, right? They didn't have them last year. They are back in the Championship this year from the loan. They've come back from another club. It's like a new signing. He held it again, mix and match last year at Rotherham, but when he played quite well, we're being told. So they're the ins. It's not 2 when you think about it, because the squad is different. These guys weren't in the squad and they are now. You look at outs, we've lost a lot of players, some good names, and now I'm looking at Rodrigo mainly. You know, players who I genuinely think could have an effect in the Championship. Rodrigo, definitely, but again, we've got a fix in there. So it's kind of, when people say we brought 2 in, we have, but technically we've got players we didn't have last year who are like new signings in that sense, because they were on loan in the Championship last year and did well for the most part. So that's what it's looking like in terms of transfers. Of course, what we need to do now on the rest of the window is focus on those other signings. We need a centre-back for me. We need more depth in that position, and we need that guy at centre-back. Howard Bellis is a mad name that I never thought would be even remotely possible, and I don't think it is still as I'm recording this video. I just think he's too good for the Championship. I don't think he's interested at all, if I'm being honest. He's too good for the Championship. Nat Phillips would be solid. That would be a very good one. You know, we're looking at that 10 role, or that guy with those attributes in there. That creative player. Who will that be? Mishu, maybe. Some of the names with Link Tillman, you know, we talked about on Joe's show. Some of those other guys, Alzate from Brighton. There's some really good names in there that you could go for. And we need that. We also need a number 8 or 2 more midfielders. Amara, Mishu, the names in there. Obviously, we need strengthening left back. Obviously, I didn't add to the ins list as well. Sam Byron, who was impressed when he's been here. Good squad player to have. Fine squad player to have, I should say. So, there's work to be done in the transfer market, hence why I give it a C+. But actually, when you deep it, we've got these guys back. And some of them, at least, will be very effective and play a lot of games for Leeds this year. And will help the side. So we need to do more work. We need to replace these. But, however, I'm liking the look of it. Daniel Farker is a signing. We brought him in. Nick Hammond is a signing. What's the other guy called? Steinman? I can't remember. I've forgotten. You know what I mean? He's come in. Sounds like a sensible option. Brought in Ampadu, Darlow so far. Look, I'm all right with it. So far, we need to see movement this and next week, definitely. Cardiff game, we're going to have to deal with what we've got. And from what we've seen pre-season, we have more than enough to compete with Cardiff and beat them if we get it right. I have no doubt about that. But let's get those players in because we need those big players in. Performance. Everything's about performance. How have we played? Has it been good? Now, gone through each game. The Man United game was a 5 out of 10. Complete fitness regime. That one. All about fitness. I've given this a B, by the way, performance. I'll give it a solid B. Man United's game of two halves. And you see the word progression there. This is big in this. Man United game of two halves. Played our stronger side in the first. They played their stronger side. Fairly equal game. They had more possession, but we did look quite dangerous in parts. Struggled to play out from the back, but there was areas where we looked dangerous. Then we went on to the Barnsley game. We won. We scored 9 goals, but we didn't know it. But I'd imagine it's a good performance, but we didn't see it, so we don't know. But we scored 9 goals. We won a game, and then Monaco I put 6 out of 10. 4 game of two halves again. Now the first half in Monaco was end to end. I thought we dominated areas of it. I thought we were very effective in certain areas. I was impressed with that, and I liked what I saw. I saw a bit more of what I wanted to see. And then the Forest game came along, and that was really good. Really good. Really good. I think, and from the Hearts as well. Now, progression. What I mean by progression is, so in the first 2 games, Monaco and Man United, when the other guys came on the pitch, the second half, we brought the younger guys on, the squad players on. It dropped, right? The intensity dropped. The style dropped. We struggled to play the way we played with those different players on. Now, what I liked in terms of progression in the Forest and the Hearts game is that didn't happen. When we brought the other guys on after 60 minutes or at half time, the intensity and in areas, we actually looked more dangerous with the fresh legs. Talking about Poveda here, those guys that came off, they all had an impact. And as a team, we are integrating ourselves into the system individually better than we did in the first 3 games. Monaco and Man United. And that's important. Every player has to be on the same wavelength in terms of understanding the system. And as pre-season's gone on, the progression of how we played is much better. In 2 weeks. Now, the season is coming up. That's another week. That's a whole week of training. This is going to take, for me, 6 to 7 weeks to get right fully. We're already looking good. It's not terrible. We're already looking good in these games. We've shown that. And the Forest game was really good. I enjoyed every aspect of it, apart from maybe some of the finishing. But that's the hardest thing to do in football, is to score goals. You know, getting that everything up to that point right is good. And we just need to be more clinical in those areas. And that's why I've given it a B and not an A. Now, Hearts, I'm seeing some people talking about it was off it, we were a bit off. We weren't. And I've been part of this. I understand exactly what this feels like. When you're playing a side in Hearts who they didn't offer a threat. Now, mentally, you know that. You're 20 minutes into a game. We started really well, right? You're 20 minutes into a game. You've given the ball away 2-3 times and you've won it back straight away. They've won the ball back. They've lost the ball within 5 seconds each time. There's no threat from them. You naturally drop off. And that's what athletes do. That's what people do. It's so normal. Man City do it all the time and Pep hated it. You know, play until the end. They go 3-0 up, they drop off. They chill out a bit. They just keep it safe because you know in your mind you can do that and you don't have anything to play for in terms of points, which we don't in these games. You're just going to be good and safe and drop off, go down to their level. It's a huge thing in sport. And that's what we did a little bit. But in terms of actual dominance and creating chances, they had none. They dominated no areas of that game. They made it scrappy for 20 minutes. Then once we interjected those subs, I thought we were back on it and we looked really good and sharp and scored goals from it and could have scored a lot more. So for me, the Hearts one was really good. And actually what I really liked about a little thing going under the radar is the aerial dominance we have in all of pre-season. The centre-backs were brilliant in the air. And Daniel Farke loves centre-backs who can win headers, because in the Championship, best believe, teams that sit back are either going to try counter you or they're going to aim for the big man up top. And we need to be dominant in those areas. Ampadu is brilliant for that counter-attacking. He's the man to snuff that out when the two full-backs have gone up. And having Creswell, Cooper, Strauch in there as aerial dominant, Nat Phillips if he comes in, Howard Bellis, all dominant in the air. And they have been pre-season. I've been very impressed as it's gone on with pre-season. Progressive, that's what we need. We need to see improvements week in, week out, and we did. More time is needed, of course. Don't get me wrong, Farke said it. Everyone's saying it. We need more time. We're going to go into the season with that, but that's fine. You develop through the season. I'm all right with that. I watch a lot of other Championship teams. They need more time too. It's not just us, believe me. And positive style, I put. We just look fun to watch, don't we? When we're on it, we look really good. That's performance. B. Solid B. Now, pre-season surprises. So these are in terms of players. I've gone with... Sorry, you can't see the word surprises. Some people will be angry. Pre-season surprises. These are players that stood out and players that I've been disappointed with. We'll start off this side. These two central midfielders. We went in, right, and I've gone in pre-season. And I thought Darko JB is going to play loads of minutes, dominate games he's in. First game against Man United, he was very good. That's why he's got a C, which isn't a terrible score by any means. And none of these a testament of the player's ability. It's just how they've performed, how they've adapted, okay? Nothing to do with their ability. Let me just clarify that. Of course it isn't. He's not an inability. This is nothing to do with ability. It's just pre-season, what I've watched. Darko JB was very good in the Man United game. He progressed the ball well. He was brave. He wanted the ball. The passes into midfield, the passes into the wings, into the strikers was very good. And then the last three, when he's come on, although he's been safe, and was it the Forest game? He came on, he was very safe, he kept the ball progressing, he kept the ball moving wide. He always wanted it, little passes, good. But the reason he's here is because Archie Gray has outshone him. And they are kind of competing for that spot. Not really testament to him, it's testament to him. Archie Gray. Been phenomenal. Give him a B. Could be higher. Been phenomenal, especially in the last two games. He's been really good. He does not look like a 17-year-old in there. He looks like a 25-year-old that's got 150 appearances at this level. He looks phenomenal. What a young talent this guy is. And without putting too much pressure on the young guys, this is just pre-season. Look, if they both drop off in the season, fine. As long we'll have options then, that's the point, right? We'll have midfielders in there. These guys shouldn't be expected to be those guys. If they can come in and do that, amazing. But let them develop in their own speed. Darko JB for me, top talent, is still gonna have a really good season. He just needs to find that more aggression in his performance, right? In terms of having that instinct to want to take the grain by the scruff of the neck. Because by all means, he has that ability. 1000% has that ability. That's why C's not even bad, by the way. Just read it makes it look bad. It's not bad. It isn't. But yeah, Archie Gray has been phenomenal. Darko JB has been decent, but he's got more in there. He has, and hopefully brings out in the season because he's a really talented footballer. But yeah, Ian Pervader, man. I'm not going to stay too long on this, but Ian Pervader, look, like I said, no agendas from Farke, no bias. He's come in, he's gone, right, I like you, you've been doing well in training, you're going to get some game time. Show me what you can do. And then the two appearances, he was all right against Man United, not great, but no one was, right? The last two games he's played, when he's come on, his argument, he's looked the sharpest on the pitch at the time he came on. Been brilliant. Creative, his movement's been outstanding, his feet have looked so sharp and quick, his decision making's been good. His on the ball and off the ball movement is phenomenal, his 1v1 has been brilliant. He's just been really good in pre-season. Watch him. If he can sort this out, whatever's been the problem, he's had injuries as well, which hasn't helped, massively hasn't helped. It's been horrible for him. Been frustrated. He wants to break into the first side. He wants to be consistent. Got to be patient with that, because that just doesn't come like that. Daniel Farke wants to see his resilience. He wants to see what he's got in the tank. He wants to see how he reacts to being dropped, how he reacts to not starting. That's what the testament is. That's the test. How he reacts when something doesn't go his way in training. That's the test now. Because he's clearly a talented guy. Clearly. His past shows that. What managers have said, what Marcelo and Pep has said about him shows that. Nick McCarthy said about him shows that. It's those other things. He needs to stay in this lane that he's in right now. Keep playing and he will start. There's no agendas against him. Keep playing like this and he will start. He just will. Joffe, I just put a D. I just think he struggled to really establish himself in a position consistently. Shown really good bits, don't get me wrong. Certain areas in games he's been good. I'm not denying that. This is not ability, like I said. He has ability. He's a talented footballer, talented young player. Just not established himself that I thought he would. Give him a D. I thought he'd establish himself more. I genuinely did. He hasn't yet. That will come in the season if he so be it, because he's got the talent to do that. Just hasn't established himself as much as, say, a Poveda or a Dan James or an Archie Gray, right? Dan James has been my surprise. I just think when he came in, I thought, yeah, good player here. But the last two games, again, he's arguably been the biggest threat. His crossing in the other game, the game, Forest game was phenomenal. 4 or 5 crosses could have been goals, by the way. He was phenomenal in that game. The other day, again, look, a little consistent 2 or 3 times as from his end product. But my God, is he a threat. And what a finish that was. The keeper ain't saving that. What a finish that was. That's what Dan James did at Swansea in that 4 or 5 months where he was phenomenal. Out on the left, cut inside, whipped in bottom corner. It's what he does. It's what he did. Finding that player again, he's coming back into it. He's been really good pre-season. I've been impressed with him. Again, no biases. I'm not looking at what he was like last season, what we know from him. I mean, from pre-season, this is what he looked like. This is what he's done. I've been impressed with him. B. Will Hunter has struggled. Why that is, don't know. Is a young guy. Again, we're forgetting how young he is. He's one of the youngest on this page, by the way, which we forget about, right? I think he might be second youngest on this page. So we forget about that. Talented young player again. These are all talented players on this, especially Will Hunter. Let's be real. But he's not turned it on. And we saw the end of the Premier League season. Sam Allardyce said before he came in, he has no idea why Nunto's not playing. Came in and dropped him. Isn't that a little bit of a lull? That's fine. He's a young guy. He needs to learn, he needs to grow from these experiences, and he will. But he's not there yet. Other guys are ahead of him. Other guys are playing better than him. He comes on. He impacts the game slightly at times. Don't get me wrong. His movement is still very good. He can do some good things on the ball, but he's not impacting it enough as opposed to Dan James, Poveda, and Archie Gray, and even you could argue these two as well. Darko J, different position, obviously, but he's impacting the game more when he comes on. Not understanding the system as much. I don't know what it is. I do know what it is. He's young and he's learning. And he's come from Zurich and it's been a crazy few months where he was so reliant in the Premier League that maybe that's just a little too much all at once, which is normal for a 19. He was just turned 18 when he joined Leeds. And then suddenly, boom, you're just playing every game and everyone loves you and you're the best player in the team. Give the guy time, if he stays, of course. This is pre-season, I'm judging. So yeah, they're my thoughts. They're my surprises. Who are you guys surprised about and maybe not so surprised about? Let me know. And disappointed with. Yeah, that's all I've got. Look, overall review, very quickly. I'm very impressed with the pre-season, to be honest with you. He's progressed better and better. The performance has been good. Players understand the system more. We need more time. We will get more time. We've got all the season. But we need it. And what I've seen in the last 2 games is a team that is ready to compete in the Championship at a high level. Maybe not the top level. But guys, I've been watching other sides. They're not above us. Promise you. They're not looking better than us right now. They really aren't. We look really good. I watched Coventry the other day, who were nothing till Hamer came on. Sorry, they weren't. Leicester, I know it was Liverpool, but I've looked at the highlights. Press them. Physically, they've not got the physical ability yet. They've not got that physical demand in them. All right, keeping the ball. But even I've seen Leicester fans online complaining about they can't pass the ball out from the back against high-pressing sides. We can do that now. We showed that. It's a different thing in the Championship, but look, we look good. We look ready. The Championship is not the Premier League, people. It isn't. It really isn't. We need additions. That is vital, and we will get them. Right now, with the players, we still have Cine right now, by the way, and I don't think he's going to go in the next week. So we still have them. Like we're going to bring players in. We're going to lose players, but as we speak, as pre-season's finished, we have these guys. They will probably play next week if they're not gone against Cardiff. That's enough to win the game. Believe me. We look good pre-season. I've been impressed with how we've developed, how we've grown. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not going to give a prediction yet. That all my season predictions, player of the year, young player of the year, they're going to come at the end of the transfer window. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I appreciate all support as usual. And yeah, see you guys soon.